Over the weekend, I asked a question to my audience because I had no fucking idea what the hell was going on. What is happening with this Southwest Airlines thing? Okay. Now, of course, they're blaming it due to weather. Now, we know that's not what's going on because there's flights that aren't being canceled in other areas due to weather. But for those of you that hadn't been keeping up, there's thousands of, I believe it's to the thousands now, of flights that have been canceled by way of Southwest Airlines. Now, they came out and said it's due to weather and all this other stuff. Speculation is that saving face for what's going on behind the scenes. Now, we do have other people that are talking about this, and I believe I saw Bloomberg talking about it. There's other platforms that are discussing what it sounds to be, at least part of this, is that people are fed up with, or this is the way to be, pilots and the unions and the associations or whatever it is that they're a part of, saying no, vaccine mandates ain't my thing. Now, again, I'm just going to cover it and how it's being covered because I don't fucking know. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend, but I do have some commentary that I'm going to give on this. Like, this is covering from Chris yesterday over at Blaze. Thousands of Americans were left stranded at airports nationwide over the weekend after Southwest Airlines abruptly canceled near 2,000 flights. What happened? Southwest Airlines, one of the most popular airlines, canceled more than 1,000 flights on Sunday after canceling more than 800 on Saturday. They said it was due to air traffic control and weather issues. This is what I just mentioned, which is interesting. As you can see, this is their tweet right here. ATC issues and disruptive weather has resulted in a high volume of cancellations throughout the weekend. But here we go with the Federal Aviation Administration confirmed that there was some ATC staffing and weather issues on Friday, but not Saturday. Otherwise, the agency blamed airline logistical issues for canceled flights. This was CNBC. And this is why I was confused, because I was like streaming when all of this was happening. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was looking for coverage because, I had my Twitter saying, it was about these people that aren't for these vaccine mandates, pilots, and all of this. And then I was looking at like some of the, of course, mainstream guys, because I always want to see what they say about it, not because I want to listen to them. I just want to hear the spin. And because, again, if it was about vaccine mandates, that would be a huge deal. And, of course, almost none of them, again, aside from a couple, were saying that it had anything to do with that. CNBC reports the Federal Aviation Administration said there are a few hours of flight delays on Friday afternoon because of severe weather and staffing issues. And this is in 5 parts of the U.S. No FAA air traffic staffing shortages have been reported. So it wasn't about staffing shortages, they said. Some airlines continue to experience scheduled challenges due to aircraft and queues being out of place. Blah, blah, blah. Is there something more? And this is the question that we're trying to ask or answer here. As tens of thousands of Americans were left stranded at airports over the abrupt flight cancellations, the mass flight cancellation, which did not impact other air carriers, was speculated to be related to a sickout or a protest of COVID-19 vaccine mandates. Reporter Leyland Vitert said that federal employees were protesting a COVID-19 vaccine mandate. Airline sources say mass sickout. Interestingly, the mass flight cancellation began one day after Southwest Airline Pilots Association filed a request to a federal court, which this is pretty much the news that I saw at Bloomberg. Yeah, it's right here. So you can see this coming out of Bloomberg, where Southwest air pilots seek to block vaccination mandates, and there's a court order apparently there. Is there a picture? There's somewhere I've seen, and Bloomberg kills it with the ads. But yeah, filing Friday asked for an immediate hearing on the request before federal court in Dallas, claiming the carrier has continued to take unilateral actions to violate terms of the Railway Labor Act, which governs airline, blah, 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 blah. I think it's sad that you guys have to refer to old laws to describe something as wrong. The Southwest Airlines Pilots Association, however, denied the flight Cancellations were related to action taken by the Southwest pilots. SWPA said that while it was aware of operational difficulties affecting Southwest Airlines, we can say with confidence that our pilots are not participating in any official or unofficial job actions. So I did see this, and I'll show you right quick that this was a pilot. Again, I don't know who this guy is, but Benny Johnson, of course, shared this. I have no idea who this guy is or what he does, but there was a video going around right here of a pilot.
For 18 years, and now I'm facing an ultimatum. Not a choice, but an ultimatum. I'm being told in order to continue my career as an airline pilot, I must be vaccinated, which really means I have to choose between putting food on the table for my family and my freedom of choice. Whether you believe in vaccination is the right thing to do or not, the situation goes far beyond health. We, the American people, have fought for freedom for 257 years. We go around the world spreading ideas of freedom and democracy.
All right,
we help others.
You had me in the first half, and then you fucking lost me, like immediately. Like I'm checked out of this video. Brave of you, if you are one of these airlines guys, but when they say freedom and going around the world spreading, help other countries fight freedom and democracy, which are antithetical terms, by the way. Freedom and democracy are literally antithetical. Like you cannot have both of those at all. One is mob rule and the other is individualist. You cannot have both of those. But I will say, yeah, they have been certainly trying to help countries find their sort of democracy through world building and the militaristic efforts. That's beside the point. Nonetheless, I don't know what the fuck's going on with this Southwest thing. I have no idea, and I can't sit up here and go out there on a limb unless I can get like actual receipts that's for sure what it is. I'm not saying that it's not. But I will say this. Assuming that it had something to do with it, and that was them standing up and saying, you know what, no more. Unfortunately, that's probably what it's going to take for people to drop this sort of bullshit. And that means a complete disruption. I don't think people understand how connected economies are, okay? And what happens is everybody thinks that because they are comfortable and things are convenient right now, or, you know, as they can be realistically, that's just how it is supposed to be sustained, and that's how it's just always going to be, right? Definitely if they go through a routine, you get in your car, you get gas, you go to work, whatever it is, you go to the grocery store, and all these things that are part of your routine, that if any of that shit was disrupted, you would see a big time fallout. Now, would I want to see that? Definitely being a free trader and all of that like I am? Of course not. However, to see it happen like that and to see how much that disrupts the workflow, and you have people, and I will go to show you, for example, who say things like this, because you do have, for example, deranged leftists that do believe that it has something to do with it, about vaccine mandates, like this guy. Southwest Airlines got all this money from taxpayers, and now he's mad that they don't want to help society by getting vaccinated. Right? It goes to show, again, this is the danger of having federal things that are federally funded or funded by the taxpayer. They tie that money and they expect you to act accordingly. And a lot of these people are upset at that. Now, of course, I'm against any sort of mandates and taxpayer money going to these companies and all of that sort of stuff. But it may take a complete disruption of certain industries where people start to have to get out of their comfort zone or realize that it's arrived on their doorstep for them to think that, okay, we can't do this shit anymore. Because right now, they have wrongfully assumed that, and this is why I tell y'all, the video that went up the day I'm doing the show, so the video that went up Monday morning, which is on the segment that we did Friday, if I'm not mistaken. It may have been one of another days the previous week. But we discussed how, yeah, there's going to have to be people that hold a line in order for us to get on the other side, and that's more liberty and them kind of backing off, right? It's not going to happen by trying to comply your way into this. And that's not easy. Certain people are going to be able to do certain things realistically and be able to remain afloat depending on how they live their lifestyles. And it goes from person to person, economic class to class, in terms of if you are going to be ready or prepared in the event that you have to hold a line, and that means you're going to have to go without. But if that disruption does happen and you do get that sort of mass noncompliance, or even if it's not in mass, maybe it's just big enough for there to be a legitimate disruption. So it doesn't have to be, let's say, like the vast majority. Maybe it's just a slight percentage, uptick in a percentage, but that disrupts so much, and then they have to concede that this is fucking shit up. They rely upon the people that they hate so much, and this really goes to, it's funny how this is the same crowd. We could literally, it's interchangeable. The same people that we talk about that are ruining like certain industries, comic books, music, movies, all of that we look at, those guys are also pro-vaccine mandate. But they rely upon your money and your work, your labor, your focus. And the minute that they're cocky enough to believe that they can either whip you into shape, and it's worked for some people, so they can pimp you, or that they don't need your money. They don't need your labor. They don't need your resources. So when you get that holdout, and you get people in a major industry like the airlines, where so many people utilize, something so simple, but so many people utilize, and that gets disrupted, they'll then have to sit up here and have to face the fact that, okay, we can't sit up here ostracizing these people. And I think that's the way that you need to look at it when it comes to holding a line. Less about, yeah, it's going to be sacrifice for some people, for all people. That's inevitable. But the disruption in itself, and you are on the right side here, they're the aggressors, but the disruption in itself will force them to have to concede that they can't do this without you. But they're cocky enough to think that they can. So we'll see what happens out of this and what as the story develops. A lot of people wanted me to chime in because I thought this was like an example of this mass noncompliance. If that is the case, yeah, it would be an example of people just saying, you know what, no more. Good luck. No more. I'll go without for a little bit, but good luck. And the more people do that, the quicker we get on the other side.
You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.